All right, so fractions. Fraction review, right? Who remembers the word fraction? Oh my. Leah, did you hear what I said? Do you remember fraction? A little bit? Okay, bless you. Who remembers? Well, you tell me. I'm going to dig back here. How would you define a fraction? I haven't thought about that for a while. Jackson?
Basically a decimal, except looks.
Fraction is not a decimal. Try again with a different word.
Fractions are parts of a whole.
That's a great definition. And this whole part, Jackson, how does that relate to what a fraction looks like? I said your name. I'm still talking to you.
So the fraction goes on top and the whole goes on the bottom. That's
Okay, the part goes on top and the whole goes on the bottom. So if I was talking about this class, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with Natalia, there are 12 people in the class right now, today.
Yes.
If I wanted to talk about how many of you were wearing fleeces, what fraction of the class is wearing fleeces?
Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 12.
No,
I count 5.
yeah, there's Ivy.
David, Kaden, Terry,
Oh yeah,
Hannah, Ivy. So 5 out of 12. So 5/12 of the class, right? And I think I just had you run off the wrong page. No, I mean, it's my fault. I gave you the page, but I think that's okay. No, I think we're not going to get through what I need to get through anyway. We will see. I have to double check that. Okay, so we have parts. So what I think the biggest thing that people mix up about fractions is we start looking at that 5/12 like some really intimidating thing. It all of a sudden has got a fraction bar in it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this one. Instead, you have to start thinking about, well, what fractions really stand for. So if I have 5/12, and I also want to say, well, let me think of a good one. Like, I don't think I can use you guys again. Well, let's just say 5/12 of something. We have 12 things, and there's 5 of them. And we want to combine 3/12 of something else. I want you to just listen how I read this. 5/12 plus 3/12. Doesn't 12 kind of sound like an object? Like 5 markers plus 3 markers. 5 pizzas plus 3 pizzas. So 5/12 plus 3/12 is 8/12. 5 markers plus 3 markers is 8 markers. So when you're thinking about adding or subtracting, it's super important that we think about that denominator like an object. And I wouldn't say, what's 3 markers plus 4 pizzas, and you would say 7 somethings, right? That doesn't make any sense. So if I would have had like 5/12 plus 2/3, you never, ever, ever would say 7/15. That doesn't make any sense. Because if fractions were that easy to do, they wouldn't intimidate us, would they? It's never that easy. Instead, I would have to do some renaming, which we'll get to shortly. Sebastian.
I want to say rename one.
Okay, hang on.
Okay, so you said that basically that 5 comes 2/3. We have to take the bigger number or the smaller number.
Oh, I didn't say anything like that. You are way, way ahead of me. All I said was you can't do that. I didn't say anything yet. So, just be patient. Let's write this down first. Sebastian, what is the term I'm looking for?
Least common denominator.
Okay, and right now, you are correct that it's least, but I'm just gonna write this for right now. Is there anybody in here who has trouble with knowing which one's the numerator and which one's the denominator? Honest? No? Okay. So that was my problem. 5 markers plus 2 pizzas. That's a really weird problem. I can't really rename those to be the same. But let's say it was 5 apples and 2 oranges. Could I rename them as fruit?
Yes.
Okay.
Perhaps.
If I say 7T and 7S homerooms in this building, I could rename as 7th graders, right? We're looking for what's in common. What's in common? So, how many of you write your fractions this way, across? Raise your hand if you do. How many of you write them up and down?
I read it that way.
Across.
Okay. Doesn't matter to me, doesn't matter to me at all. I would say, when I was learning fractions, I definitely did this one more, but now I probably do that one more. It really doesn't matter to me. What matters is we have to rename them. We have to rename them, like Sebastian said, with the least common denominator. And what that really translates to is, what's the least common multiple of 12 and 3? So let's look at that again. Multiple. Multiple means what? Do they both go into? Denominators can't get smaller to be common unless you're reducing. That sure happens, but that's not what we're going to do as a rule. What do both 12 and 3 go into, Kaden?
4.
No. You're thinking what goes into 12 3 times, which is a true fact, but I'm thinking, what can I multiply 12 by? What can I multiply 3 by to get the first number they both go into? To get the first product that's common? Natalia?
5.
What you're telling me by saying 5 is you're saying 12 times something is 5.
Oh.
And 3 times something is 5.